Welcome to Fuzzy Dragons. My name is Jen, and today I'm going to be finishing the Northern Lights Dragon that I started last week, but then, life happens and it didn't get finished on time, so it should have been up earlier this week, like middle of the week, whatever, but it didn't happen because our stove decided to die, but John fixed it, so that's good. He did fix it. So it still works, which is good. Well, now it works. And then I was trying to help him with put together the treadmill, which consisted of me just handing him tools, which didn't go very well. But his dad helped him with that yesterday, was it? Yeah, it was yesterday. So yeah, and then the weather in Scotland's been really nice the last 3-4 days, and when it's nice in Scotland, you try to get some kind of sun, even though I ended up getting a bit too much sun, because now my arms are a bit red, and so, because you don't get you do get sun here. It's just, when it does get sun, you take advantage of it. But, maybe I should have put sunscreen on, but I forgot. And considering I did a huge project at school about, sunscreen, or sun protection and stuff, and I know how bad it is not to wear sunscreen. I mean, I knew before, but, I think you would think that I'd put on sunscreen, but I don't very often. I forget. Because I don't go outside for the sun, and you don't think it's sunny enough to get burnt, but no, it is, but hey, anyway. And I finished this in Clip Studio. I didn't change the program because I started it in Clip Studio. Might as well finish it in Clip Studio, even though you could change programs. You don't have to necessarily stick to the program that you start with. You can jump between programs, no problem. You might not have the same brushes, but, with a lot of brushes that are, customizable, you can change things. And I'm kind of still have the plague, but not really. I feel a hell of a lot better. I mean, I'm not like 100%, but maybe like 99% better. But John's still getting out of breath occasionally. He's got it worse than me. That could be because of the antivirals, though. I think it was the antivirals that probably helped me. But it sucks that I don't think he's on a list, actually, to get antiviral. I don't think anything maybe the asthma, maybe? I'm not really sure. I've had to look into that, just for future notice. But I am using just basic painting brush. It's probably called something else, but that's just what I called it, so, hey. And I did have a thing to talk about, but it didn't quite work out, and now I don't have anything to talk about. I know nothing to talk about. I was going to talk about school, but then I'm like, kind of worked, kind of didn't, because then I don't want people thinking you have to go to school. You don't have to go to school, and because you really don't have to go to school to do art. You really don't. You can, with everything you can find online today, and whether your own, computer or the library, you don't need to go to school. I mean, I had good middle schools, good high schools. I had, so I said schools, not just one. We moved around a lot, so I went to a few different schools. But they had pretty good art departments. Probably don't now, but budget cuts and all that crap. But so they had, you can do anything. Well, like ceramics, painting, drawing, printmaking, you name it, over the course of, middle school to end of high school, you name it, in any of the schools, you did come across it at least once. And then I did college, which was contemporary art, which, was alright, but it was something to do. But I did a lot of printmaking. I mean, I did the stuff, but they pretty much left me to do whatever, as long as I got the main work done. Because I knew what I was doing, so. And then printmaking, I mean, they had like one of those big print wheels that weigh a ton, which I think would fall through the floor here. I don't think the floor here would fit one of them. Maybe like concrete or something, but because they do weigh quite a lot, the big printing presses. And, which I would love one, but they're not cheap, and like I said, they weigh a lot. And, and then did uni, which first year is a foundation year, so you do like a general kind of thing, which is just throw everything at you to see what sticks, kind of. By then you might have an idea what you want to do. I thought either illustration or maybe product design, but if I hadn't done art, like if I had went to college or something else, I'd probably have to do some kind of science, like marine biology or something like that. Or, I'm trying to think what other thing. No, marine biology probably would have been something like that. Or, like John suggested, engineering, which that could have been an option. I mean, and even then I could have done like product design or architecture or something like that in uni. But I know architecture can be quite hard to get into. I mean, same thing with illustration at uni. They had a really high what is it, subscription rate? No, they had a really high list. Yeah, they had waiting lists, obviously, if people like dropped out, but I don't think anybody really dropped out. But at least the first year, maybe the second year, people changed. I know, like when graphic design, the first year there were only 12 of us. I think it was 12, something like that. And then the second year there was like 32. But a lot of the extra 20 people were actually technically would have been second year, so like the first year after foundation year, but they just skipped them ahead a year, which probably wasn't a good thing for them. But no, I mean, and then did 3 years of graphic design. Probably should have switched after the first year, which I could have. Either go to, like he suggested, like product design, like John suggested product design, or architect. Well, I probably couldn't have done architecture. I probably would have to start that from scratch. But like product design, I probably could have switched to. They would have had to get me help to make stuff, but that was, the school would have done that. Or I could have done international, or no, not international. Well, it's IED, which it's not what it sounds like. It's hold on, let me see what this IED stood for. It stood for Interior and Environmental Design. So, it's like studying architecture, artistic, and social dimensions of interiors is what it said. So, but the only problem with that is, well, I kind of had the impression, rightly or wrongly, that the teachers didn't know what to do with me because of disability. Now, at that point, I wasn't in a wheelchair, I wasn't needing a cane to walk, but because it changed the way, like, evacuating the area and stuff, and they were, like, high up in the uni. They were on the top floor, so what's that, level 7? Is there 7 floors at uni? There's 7 floors at the uni? Was that where IED was? No idea. I think it was. But it was there way at the top. So then again, if the elevator broke down, stairs, I mean, not the best. So I wouldn't have been able to get possibly up there. But then again, the uni would have had to deal with it, And I think at the time, I just didn't want to cause not so much a problem, but be a problem, I guess. Now I wouldn't care, hey, hindsight and growing, getting more confidence in yourself helps with that. But, I mean, there were options, really. I mean, like I said, that's if I had kept with art. I mean, I could have, like I said, went back to, college and get maths and stuff to do, or science. I mean, I had sciences in high school and stuff, but I don't know how that would have worked here. I'm not sure if I would have had to redo some things. I might have. I'm not really sure. I mean, we would have had to go probably live up north, probably, to go for school for that, because I think all the universities and colleges are more up north for that. I can't remember, but yeah, so, I mean, I did art. Mistake? Possible. I mean, do something you enjoy, yeah, but should I have done something else for school? Probably, because I didn't learn a lot, really. I mean, I learned a bit of graphics and stuff, obviously, and I probably would never got into 3D stuff if I hadn't been in graphics, which was a solution for me doing something else, because instead of being in the workshop, which, not the safest thing for me to be, so that was the solution for that, do stuff 3D. Same thing with IED, was do stuff 3D, but I still would have had to build stuff, and my hands are just too shaky for that. Even back then, they were too shaky. But, I mean, there is always a way behind it, but at the same time, you don't want to be singled out, because, even though I've, had, it's not so much singled out, but I had reasons for needing the help and stuff like that, but, it's still, you just don't want to stand out too much, but, c'est la vie, or whatever they say, kind of thing. I think that's where, I don't know. Back to French. I mean, I took, 7 years of French, and I don't remember much. Remember how to say days a week, months, and count at 12, roughly. I can count a little bit higher, but, I mean, I can read it more than I can speak it, but, so I guess that's something. I must have kept something in my brain, because you have to take French in most, I think all provinces in Canada, you have to take French up to a certain degree. I mean, I know in Alberta, it was a year more than what I think I took, but because I didn't have to redo it. But yeah, moving from high school to high school, especially across the province, was a bit of a pain in the butt, because you had to redo certain things, or certain things in Ontario didn't count in Alberta, and vice versa and stuff. So don't recommend that. If you're gonna change, don't do that, because that's a pain in the ass to do. But it's in the past. Don't think about the past too much, because it'll drive yourself, fatty. But I mean, I would redo if I could afford it. Can't afford it, but if I could redo it, I would change what I took in university. Wouldn't be art related, or very loosely art related if it was at all. But did the art, got into a master's for literature, not art, but which is fine. That's because it's something I like. If I hadn't done, it would have been English. I mean, English was always something I was good at too in high school, but I like reading and stuff. So in figuring out, like, having my own ideas of what books are about and stuff. But and then, like I said, I would love to do a PhD, but that's $4,500 a year, and that ain't happening. Because you don't get a student loan for a PhD. Well, you could, but it'd be like through a bank or something probably, but not through the Scottish, because they do Scottish, or I don't know, they have a student loan thing, which you have to be a resident here, which I was at the time, so I still, because of my visa, I may have got an ILR so I can come and go whenever, but not a citizen because it's not cheap. It's a lot of money. I would love to do it, but it's not cheap. I mean, John's got his PR card, but he'd have to be in Canada 3 years, I think it is, in order to get citizenship, something like that. I can't remember how long it is exactly. And it might have changed by now. I'm not really sure, because that was 15 years ago, something like that. You first got that, and you haven't been back in Canada since, really, except to visit for a week. So I'm yawning, because I'm tired. But, so yeah, almost finished. And it kind of looks bright, kind of, sort of. I mean, there are things I would change, but, it is what it is. And now on to the next thing, which is possibly a very colorful dragon. Yeah, it's another dragon, more than likely, I don't really know. It might be. That's the idea in my head at the moment, at least. Another dragon. That'll be the next one, hopefully, maybe. Unless I think of something else to do. But, and probably be digital, yeah. I do work traditional, but, it's just easier to working digitally. I mean, and of course, the uni, all I did was digital stuff. It was never really traditional stuff, but it would have been different, obviously, if I had done illustration or product design or fine art. Obviously would have been different. I don't think I would have done fine art at uni. All the arty-farty stuff would have just pissed me off. It did kind of like at college too, because it's just like, you just write a bunch of wank and that's fine. Okay, well, I'll write that, it'll be, if that's what you want me to write, but yeah, so no, I probably wouldn't have done fine. Actually, no, I wouldn't have done fine art. But all kinds of stuff. You could have done instead. But I just thought, graphics or illustration. That was my second choice. But he said they were overbooked anyway. So even if that was my first choice, it wouldn't have necessarily mean I would have got it. But so this is finished, and I'm done rambling because I really didn't know what to talk about. And it's very bright, and that's what I wanted. So that works for me. So yeah. Like, subscribe, ring the little notification bell, leave a comment if you want. Don't have to, but it's always nice. And I will be back on Tuesday unless I fall asleep and don't wake up. Because I'm falling asleep here right now. Because I'm didn't sleep, and I don't really know why. But anyway, so yeah, I will be back, hopefully, crossing my fingers, on Tuesday. Bye!